All right.
We live?
We live.
Right, we back. We back. Let's
Oh,
go.
man.
Let me pull up what I need to pull up.
That's a good one right there.
Okay, how you feeling, man? You fresh from Dallas.
Fresh, man. I was down there in a short sleeve shirt. Walking outside, got some good sun.
Okay.
Definitely need it. Definitely need it. How's everything been with you lately? I know we haven't been on a podcast in a minute, so we gotta bring some value to the people.
Yeah. You know, this episode really is gonna be for the people who want to lock in the midst of the chaos, right? We got government shutdown, we got, all the things that came with that, SNAP benefits being, taken away. It's just a mess. And my thing is, how can we give people value that's relevant for right now? And really we speaking to the people who really want to just prosper. And with all the chaos that's going on, like how can you stay focused? How can you stay locked in? And then my biggest thing for real is like, we all know January 1st, new year, new me, whatever, right? Like, to me, it's like, this is the time you should be doing the things you think you should be doing in January. So that by January, you really already got a head start on all those people who is gonna run into the gym and pack it up. And you know what's crazy? Just a little side thing, like, you figure the true cliche of new year, new me, it's like, bro, you want to eat good, you want to stop drinking or stop smoking or whatever it is, and it's like on the first of the year you out partying, eating
That's
crazy. So it's like let's not do that. Let's get a better understanding of what's important so we can focus on doing it, and then also prosper. So like I said, you coming off of a trip to Dallas, Texas, basically sponsored by New York Life, for the achievements you've made. I'm not gonna ask what did you have to achieve to get there, but what I want to ask is like, okay, what are the top things that you think you came home with that when you went you didn't have, whether it be a piece of knowledge or a strategy, because like we said, we want to give this value for the people who really want to focus and kind of block out the noise and get to wherever it is they want to get, whether it's a goal of weight loss or a financial goal or just a spiritual goal. Talk to me about what are the things that you feel like you gained that when you got off the flight to Dallas you didn't have, but when you got back on and you came back here to Syracuse, New York, you are now holding onto these skills or strategies.
So I would say first thing that I kind of realized, or I noted, we was in our breakout groups, and one of the guys was talking about like the company itself. He said he had three professional jobs, and those professional jobs, he said the first two, it didn't really put that much emphasis on development. They didn't really, like, they just came in. He said it was one job that he had to watch a bunch of trainings for, and once he started working the actual job after watching like all the trainings, going through the trainings and stuff like that, they said that like the management said that, yeah, we don't do none of that stuff. We just work. Like, we don't got to worry about none of that stuff that y'all was watching and stuff. And he was like, yeah, man, it just kind of opened his eyes. And he was like, with New York Life, they're doing stuff like flying you out for professional development, like really spending time, money, and energy on your development throughout the career. So it shows how much New York Life cares about not only the agents but the clients too. Because if we're getting developed to the point where we're getting more value, we're making sure our clients are being put first, we have the information and the knowledge to give to the clients, then it's like that shows how important it is for the agents to develop so that we can be better agents for the clients. So ultimately it's like a full circle kind of thing, so that the people that are working with agents from New York Life, they know that they're being developed so that they can be in good hands.
Right.
Obviously it's not all state, but they in good hands. But another thing too, in terms of like the knowledge, I just feel like being able to go go down there and take a step away from the business, just kind of overall equip me with just so much knowledge that I can utilize, and really they emphasize a lot of value, like how to be more valuable for the client, how to have more information for the client, how to ask better questions for the client, how to understand the client, how to know, different communication styles to better, better speak to the client, and better ways to kind of, give them the information that they're looking to, that they're looking to get, because
Yeah.
everybody understands things differently, everybody learns things differently. But being able to take a step back and dive deeper into the business and build a better foundation, because the foundation, I feel like the foundation was built, but being able to take a step away and just look from the outside in,
Yeah.
like it really just opens up a lot of room for growth, because it's always, we're not perfect, so
Right.
being able to take that step away and dive back into the foundation and just strengthen that foundation, it feels like, I just feel like I'm just more equipped in general. I felt good before I went down there, but just being able to have a week full of professional development from, the way that you communicate, the way that your mindset is, because, it's difficult in general. Like, this industry is definitely difficult, and they emphasize becoming the best version of yourself. And, I've never really worked for a job that was like, hey, we need your mindset to be on point. We need you to be the best version of yourself every single day, and actually, put energy and, time into making sure that everybody can become the best version of themselves. So that was one thing, being able to step back, build that foundation. Another thing was to be able to meet people from all over the country, literally all over the country, from Cali, New York, Florida, Texas, like all of these different places, and you're just meeting so many different people. I feel like that was a very good experience to be able to go through, and then kind of bounce ideas off of each other to see, hey, what's working, what's not, how can we provide more value to our clients, how can we position ourselves to be better mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, so that because at the end of the day, the mindset thing is huge, because if we don't have the right mindset, how are we going to meet with a client if we don't have the right mindset? If we're in our thoughts, we have to be able to bring our best selves to the table every single day, and it's easier said than done, but being able to be aware about that was one of the biggest takeaways. And
I like that answer. One thing, there's a couple things I want to say to that. The first thing is, like, obviously, we work for New York Life. The thing about it is, until I worked here, I didn't notice that, like, you could buy insurance from almost anywhere, right? You can go online, you can get it from places that are famous for car insurance, like, but to get life insurance or just have a place where you have, a centralized way of getting all of your financial services in like really one spot. The thing that makes it very important, like, is you need an agent, right? Like, there's been times, I don't know if this happened to you, but people will say, oh, let me get a quote, right? Like, this isn't car insurance. But I didn't know other, insurance companies would just, all right, here's a quote. Here, tell me how you like it. And it's just like, nah, I feel like there's something to be said about the fact that New York Life wants to develop agents, understanding that that will basically make us a stronger company because we can help clients better. If it's just a bunch of agents who are really just salespeople, we end up being sleazy at some point. At some point, somebody's gonna be like, I don't really like how they do things. And I've heard this about other companies, but I'm not gonna downplay any other company. What I'm gonna do is just think about the fact that, like, yeah, it's important to be your best self because it'll trickle down so many ways, right? And I think kind of that's a great segue into the next thing I'm thinking, because like I said, you have the government shutdown, you have people who are losing jobs, you have people who are, losing SNAP benefits, and the things that we once thought were kind of like guaranteed, they're not, which is crazy in itself, and I could talk all day about that. But the point I'm making is, you know, anybody who's watching this or anybody who, you know, kind of thinks that they want to level up, I really am a firm believer in you can't do that until you focus on yourself and really, you know, strengthening that foundation of like, who are you? What do you stand for, right? You know, what are the things that you are good at, and how can you use those to make yourself valuable for the people who need you? And one thing I do want to say, for anybody who's thinking about getting into the financial, you know, services business, I'm one that thinks, you know what, if you first start and it's tough, it's probably because you don't really know who's for you, right? And I'm thinking, you tell me if I'm wrong, I'm thinking that you're getting close to the point where you are going from like working with as many people as possible to kind of sizing it down and working for the people who are for you. Follow me?
Yeah.
So, you know, with that being said, it's like, I don't want to seem like everybody's not important, but, you know, talk a little bit about how when the people who are for you, right, the people who need the things you can provide, talk a little bit about how it's a big difference in the vibe compared to the people who, you know, you just stumble upon, or you meet at an event and it's random and they really just want to win a raffle and they don't really know what we do. Like, talk to me about your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I feel like working with everybody was, because the work that we do is so important,
Yeah.
and everybody will eventually need the services that we provide
Exactly.
at some point in time. The earlier the better, the later the worse. And trying to help people understand that can be difficult at times, especially if you know, because realistically the best time to start investing, like you said, was yesterday.
Yeah.
So realistically, the longer you wait, you're just putting yourself behind a little bit. You can be early to the game, but you know, if it's not a priority, or if it's not that much of a priority, then people they may not see how valuable it is. But that's why, you know, working with certain, you know, groups and people that are, you know, for me, I feel like they understand how important it is, because they may be a little older, they may have different scenario, they may have children, they may have a family, and because of that, you know, they know how important it is. The work that we do in general, the services that we provide, the things that we work with, they understand how important that is. And, you know, understanding the importance of that will, you know, help people be in a position to where, hey, I want to protect my family. You know, I want to make sure I don't outlive my money when I get to retirement. I want to make sure that when I do get to retirement, I have enough and I can actually retire confidently.
Yeah.
You know, a 20-year-old versus a 50-year-old see retirement completely different. A 20-year-old may be like, I'm only 20. I'm good. I don't got to worry about retirement right now.
Exactly.
Meanwhile, that's the best time to invest, because you're going to have the most time in the market.
Yeah.
Versus somebody that's 50, like, they like, yeah, I'm getting close to retirement. I think I got to go look at some of the stuff that I got set up so that when I do get to retirement, I don't have any regrets.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just, I feel like certain groups of people just understand the importance of the work that we do. And, you know, a lot of times that is, you know, very important in general, because that can help, you know, realistically, it can save a person's life.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is, you know, we work with so many different things, but at the end of the day, this is a saving life business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're lifesavers.
Yeah, literally. and it's people don't really know they have a problem until the problem starts to affect them.
Right.
So that's why it's so important that we reach out to people and help them understand the importance of the work that we do, so that they can be ahead of the curve. Because, like I said, the later the worse.
Yeah.
You know, the older you get, the more expensive things get, and you know, the older you get, you may have health declining as you get older.
Yeah.
If that health declines, and you know, you didn't take action, you didn't take that information that was 100% free.
Right.
Then it's like, okay, cool. Now I have a problem, because once I leave this planet, my family members have to come out of pocket like 10, 15,000, and that can be the last thing that people remember them for.
Mhm.
And that's not, you don't want to live a whole life and then, do good things for people, and then the last thing that people remember you for is the bill that you left them with.
Yeah, man, listen, there's so much to be said about that. There's a couple things that I wanted to talk about that you make me think. First thing is really developing understanding. So like, for me, I try to be the educator when I'm with a client. I don't really, 9 times out of 10, like, I don't have to sell you anything. I don't have to talk you in. It's just, if I can help you develop an understanding, you start to realize what's in front of you is kind of a no-brainer.
Mm-hmm.
And, to that point, it's like, yo, it kind of forces you as an advisor to work with the people that are really for you, because when you're helping develop an understanding in your client, they quickly realize like, oh, it's not too much that's more important than this,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, not really. And the other thing I want to talk about, like, kind of on that note, is like, if someone goes, hey, I got time, I don't really need to worry about that kind of stuff, this is important, but like, I'm thinking after the holidays we'll get back to it. I'm never mad at that, but I also understand that, like, that's a defense mechanism that people have just in general, right? And it makes me think about this one viral clip I saw over the weekend. It was like, if people could understand financial services, the world would collapse. And I'm like, damn, I never thought about that. Wow. And the guy goes on to say, like, and this is kind of going against what we do, but it is what it is. He says, if more people were financially literate and there wasn't such a need for financial services, the world will be a completely different place. And I'm gonna explain. If people knew that life insurance is as cheap as it can get as soon as you're born, everybody would do it. There would probably be like a New York Life office next to a hospital, right?
Yeah.
And then
Nice.
keep it going. If schools focused on what is a Roth IRA, what is cash value in a life insurance contract, what is a 401k, if schools focus on that as opposed to the Civil War, more students would study and have a better understanding when they graduate. Like, I can probably, pay for college a different way than a loan. Back to the first point, if they had a whole life policy from the time they were born, because that was just the norm, imagine how much money colleges wouldn't end up getting, because you're not selling loans at this point. It's just, I paid for my 529, I paid for my life insurance. It would be a whole different place. You see where I'm going with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, the other thing is with interest, because I don't know about you, but when I'm growing up, I'm thinking interest is something you pay. You don't really think about the fact that you can collect interest. You don't think about the fact that interest is what is called when your money makes money.
Mm-hmm.
So if people knew that, that's a whole other thing that would kind of collapse the workforce.
Yep.
If people understood that, and let's just say hundreds of years from now, people are kind of now, life insurance being the norm and retirement planning, if this all becomes the norm, there wouldn't really be a need for financial planning, because every time somebody dies, there would be a huge windfall. Mm-hmm. There would be a huge amount of money that comes into the family. Mm-hmm. And if people were more literate and understood what to do with it, after a while, every time somebody dies, we get richer. Every time somebody's born, we take out a policy. It just becomes the norm. Mm-hmm. So what we're doing really is trying to help people understand what we know so that it can become the norm.
Yeah.
Right, now, two other unrelated things that I saw, and I want your thoughts on it. I'm hearing, these are allegations, this is what we're gonna call them. Retirement age will now go from 59 to 70. Oof. Mortgages will now go from 30 years to 50 years. I want you to understand how bad things can get if this is the case, because it's presented as if it's good. Oh no, you can just work longer, you make more and more money, just work through your 60s and retire at 70. There's no need to do that, but if that becomes a norm, people will start to do that. Yeah. There's no need to do that. If you are a 20-year-old investor for the long haul, at 40 or 50, you should be okay. But by 70, it's like, all right, you should have been gone. And then the other thing, I really, like I said, it's kind of unrelated, but I want you to understand that the 30-year mortgage is already kind of crazy, but it's the norm now.
Mm-hmm.
If the 50-year mortgage becomes the norm, you do understand that in 50 years, you'll pay maybe triple or even at least double for your house because you're paying for a longer time. Now, the reason why I said they kind of package it to be like a good thing is a 50-year mortgage makes it so that your monthly payment is smaller, but you're gonna make 20 more years of that monthly payment. So just imagine how much more money the bank will end up getting. And you know, I want your thoughts on just how what can you imagine if the world knew better? And also, like, if that's the case, right? If we start to make financial literacy the norm, if everybody just knows this stuff, what are the things that you would hope come from that? Like, I don't know, maybe better decision making, whatever way you want to slice it, but like, it's crazy because it could be really bad for people like us because they don't need us.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm thinking there's always going to need to be that human touch, even if you did know.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't know, we kind of spitballing here, but like, very important stuff that's happening right now.
Yeah, I think that the world would be, well, one, I feel like the cash flow would just be more because people would have more.
Yeah.
And they would know where to put things, but also they will be accumulating, more money in general. So now people are making more money, and because people are making more money, they can spend more money. Now it's more cash flow.
Yeah.
So really, I don't know if y'all watch Paid in Full, but everybody eats.
Yeah.
Everybody can eat.
Everybody can eat. That's crazy.
That's just something that is important to know because one, we still have a lot of people in poverty. I mean, we're in one of the poorest cities in the country, so we can, we're seeing poverty firsthand. And that is so important because, it talks a lot of times in the Bible that, it's poor people in the Bible, but it says that, we are put here so that we can, build wealth.
Right.
And building wealth it allows us to, one, reverse what's been going on for the last 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90.
Could be 100.
100 years.
Yeah.
Now we're reversing that. And, especially, for our people, I feel like we have this cycle that we keep on going down. But it really just takes one person to understand the information.
Right.
To flip, the whole cycle, to break the curse, to break break the cycle. And then once one person gets on board, then it's like everybody else can get on board. And everybody else getting on board. Now we changing our whole family's trajectory of where we are and where we're gonna go. And then like you said, like once somebody, say someone, I feel like the work that we do is so important because we're helping people with some of the biggest moments of their lives. When they're born, when they die, and when they retire. Because when you retire, you like, I just gave this job 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm about to collect my money. If it's done right, I'm about to collect my money that I'm going to receive for the rest of my life consistently. And then when somebody's born, I mean, it's not a coincidence why we see people when they turn 18 or when they turn 21, they just got a brand new car from dad. That's because dad started investing when they was born.
Way back when, maybe before.
Honestly, and that's like so important is because I don't have kids, but if I did, they would definitely have a policy off rip because that's how stuff should go.
Yeah. It's common sense.
Yeah, and it's like we care about our families, but it should be a priority to learn this information. And to touch on something else too, I seen something that said majority of marriages fail due to financial stress and financial problems.
Facts.
So
That's a fact.
how bad do you want things to be? Like how important is your family? How important is your wife, your kids? And you don't want your marriage to end because you didn't want to come in for a meeting, or you didn't want to come get information that that is super needed, but information that's gonna propel you forward, and propel your family forward, and breaking these curses and whatnot. So
Yeah.
And what was the second part?
It was about the mortgage, but that was just me thinking about like how crazy it is. But
Oh yeah, about that too. I'm like, realistic, because right now they got 15 and 30, right?
they got pretty much just like the main ones.
Okay, so if they got a 15 and 30, and how they about to get 51, wherever they get the loan from, they just confirmed 50 years of payments from this person. It's interest
bad.
rates are, they say interest rates are probably the highest that it's been in decades right now.
Yeah.
So if interest rates are the highest that it's been in decades, 50 years from now, where is it gonna be?
Who knows?
If it's going up and it gets higher, now you're paying for longer, and you're gonna pay more over time in general. Like you're just gonna
in general, it's gonna happen like that. Let me say a couple of things about that. So, first thing is, luckily, most mortgages get locked in, like whatever your rate is. So let's say 2026, you get a house, your rate is whatever. For 50 years, that's gonna be your rate. But most times, people want to do refinances, and it's gonna get bad. But one piece of game that I want to tell the listeners, the watchers, and just anybody, and is a very important thing that I need you to know and never forget. The way interest is set up as you are paying, you're designed to pay the interest first. So this is why you might hear people go, like, even with cars or homes or whatever, man, I've been making my payment every month, and how did my principal amount go down, $2,000? I pay X amount, and it's because the way interest works is it is written so that the dollars that you pay go straight to the interest first. Maybe a teeny bit goes to the principal. If you don't know what a principal is, it's not the person that's the head of the school, it's the amount that you are actually paying on, right? Like the amount that you owe. But then they put interest on top of that, and they make it so that you're paying interest first, which is sinister, right? So like, that's why that happens. So if you have a 50-year mortgage for like 30 years, you're not even gonna be touching the principal if you don't know what you're doing. A lot of times people go, oh, I'm gonna put, I'm gonna pay, but I'm gonna put an extra 100 on the principal, which is good because after a while, it makes your principal go down, down. So, it helps. But if you don't know that, we're not doing our job as podcasters to teach you like that's how interest works. So if it's for a car or a home, as you're paying, and you just do your regular monthly payment, most of that money goes to the interest. So that a good amount of years will go by and you still owe the same thing. Even student loans. Like if you don't know what you owe on student loans, but you've been paying, I guarantee you go to look, it's gonna be higher than you thought. Because I've been paying, how's that? Interest gets paid first.
Yeah.
Right? So with that, you gotta understand, well, how can we be the ones that collect the interest in any form or fashion, whether it's through, you start to issue loans to people, or, you have annuities or retirement plans where the interest that your money gains gets paid to you. That's what you need to understand, right? You need to figure out how to collect assets. And these assets should pay you interest or dividends, and, basically you should be trying to make money to get assets that will give you more money back. So that's that. Now, I want to touch on the whole, marriage and why people get divorced. I'm a firm believer in, since talking about money is taboo for most people, that's a leading indicator on why you get divorced. Because if you have financial struggles, we really don't want to talk about it. And then it's kind of like bubbling over, and we just try to keep it in. We don't want to discuss it. We don't want to say, hey, tell your wife like, hey, I'm hurting right now, I don't really got it. That's something that as a man you really don't want to do. So you avoid it, and then it gets bad, and then you get divorced. Now I'm a firm believer in that. So I would say the remedy is just have an open conversation about finances as often as possible. So then your wife at least understands. And to me, and shout out to my wife, to me, you should be marrying somebody who's going to help you basically connect the dots. If you marry somebody who you know you can't go to have that conversation, or you know they have a spending problem, or they got a bunch of debt, you kind of are already asking for these problems.
Or a gold digger.
Right. I ain't even want to go down that road, but that's obvious. Like, you marrying gold diggers, you get what you deserve. Just saying. But if somebody like you or whoever's watching, who you're not married, but maybe you want to be one day, look for the person that's a go-getter. Look for the person. Not saying you want to leech off her. No.
Mm-hmm.
Look for somebody that is going to look at you like, I know you can make money, and I'm gonna help you do it, and I'm gonna make some money too, so we will have more.
Compliment each other.
You have to do that. If that's not the vibe, y'all should just be friends. I'm just gonna say that.
That's a fact.
Right? But too many dudes fall in love or fall in lust with people who have horrible spending habits, and then you know when you got bad spending habits, you don't want to share it because she does too. And guess what? Now you in the courtroom dividing up assets.
Yeah.
Could have been easily avoided by just seeking out the ones who, well, she keep a job, she got a little side hustle, or at least no side hustle, but she save her money, she don't run through her check.
Yeah.
I got a friend, not gonna say his name obviously, back in the days we used to be talking, he'd been with a girl, strict high school sweetheart. He said, yo, she get paid on Friday, be broke on Saturday morning.
Yo, that's crazy.
They not together no more. But back then it was a joke. He's like, yo, it's crazy. I don't know what's going on with her money, but that's what she do. Every Friday she get paid. Every Saturday morning she broke.
Mm-hmm.
That's something to, man, listen, we got a whole episode about that. But
yeah,
the point is, don't do that. Just be friends with them. Be an acquaintance. Hey, how you doing, girl? I ain't seen you in a minute. Don't marry her. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Marry somebody who's actually trying to make something happen and can help you when you are hurting. And that she'll probably be that battery in your back to get you back on your feet.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, in the essence of this episode, really, we know it's a lot going on. We know there's chaos, but how can you stay locked in? I'm gonna give my top 3 things, and then you give yours, right?
Mm-hmm.
My top 3 things to stay locked in and stay focused in the midst of the chaos. Stick to your schedule. Matter of fact, I guess back up, make a schedule. If you are not someone who can schedule or stick to a schedule, try to work on it, because if you wake up every day and you just winging it in the midst of chaos, I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, that's
right?
crazy.
So make your schedule, stick to it. Second thing I would say is take time to do nothing. That might sound crazy, but you do need that decompression time. You need that, just time to breathe, because sometimes I feel like we're running 100 miles an hour, right? So, maybe it's Sunday mornings. Maybe, like for me, it's between 5 and 7 a.m. That's my time. I'm gonna take a walk. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm not gonna do much because I need that time so that by 7, I'm ready to go, right? And then I know you probably will allude to this, so I'm not gonna go too deep. But the third thing for me, in my opinion, is focusing on what you're putting in your body. What are you eating? Because like if you're eating a bunch of processed foods, a bunch of high calorie drinks, you can't really function that well. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I'll let you take it from there, because I figure you might want to say a couple things about it. But also, you have 3 things on staying locked in the midst of the chaos.
So I'll say number 1, definitely God.
Oh, for sure. Sorry, God, I missed that. Go ahead.
Keep God first, because it don't matter. It don't matter what you're going through. As long as you keep God first, you will be fine. Like, you don't have to stress. Like, you could show up in the middle of a storm smiling.
Yeah.
As long as you keep God first, no matter what, like, He's not gonna put you through something that you can't get through. Like, He's putting you through things because He knows that you can handle it.
Yeah.
So that's 1. 2 would be to understand where you're headed and put a plan in place to get there. So, if that means you putting a 5-year plan together, if that means putting a rest of 2025 plan together, put that plan together. But also keep in mind your environment, because your environment can lead to bad spending habits. Your environment can lead to you not being as focused as you need to.
That's a fact.
The company that you keep is super important. Be around like-minded individuals that want to grow and build, not individuals that want to chill and spend. Because chilling and spending is going to leave you in the same place that you are at right now. Not saying that's everybody, but chilling and spending is not pushing you forward. Chilling and spending is actually pulling you back.
Right.
So keep a good environment. Put a plan in place. Keep a good environment. And then third, on food. If things is hard right now, you know, some people laying off.
Yeah.
Stop eating out.
Please stop.
Go get groceries. Meal prep.
Yes.
So that way you know for a fact, one, you're not spending money. I mean, you could spend a couple $100 one time. That'll last you 2-3 weeks. You know, you go to the grocery store maybe like 2-3 times a month, probably twice a month. Like every 2 weeks, go get the same stuff, eat the same food. If it's good, you don't got no problem eating the same stuff as long as it's good.
Mm-hmm.
So eat out so you can no, not eat out, but get groceries so that you don't have to eat out. And you can save money and make sure that you are eating. If you get groceries, then you know for a fact that you eat it right.
Yeah.
You know, getting the right groceries. Don't go there and get like mad honey buns and stuff. Go get some. Realistically, eating healthy is so easy. Fruits, vegetables, protein. That's it. That's all you need. Fruits, vegetables, protein. You get a couple granola bars. Get some
rice, some potatoes.
Yeah.
Rice and potatoes go with everything to me. Rice, potatoes, pasta.
Yeah.
Protein pasta.
And then that's pretty much it. God, put a plan in place. Change your environment.
Buy groceries.
Get groceries.
Yeah, I like that. Let me just say one thing. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody, but I do feel like I'm better than the people who abuse Uber Eats and DoorDash. And I'm not saying I'm better than you, but like, how many times do we help people financially and they say, I don't really know if I got the money for that, or you know, they basically kind of shrink the budget, but you always make time for that Uber Eats and that DoorDash. If you're not an Uber Eats kind of guy or a DoorDash kind of girl, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the people who spend $40 on a $20 meal because it's convenient and somebody brings it to you. To me, the reason why I've never used those apps is because the money that I pay for that service could go towards an investment or be saved. And then the food that I get is seldomly good. Like, it's not like the groceries we can buy and cook. It's usually something from a drive-through. So I wish that we could kind of track every dollar that goes to unnecessary things, and you'll be surprised, you know, how much would be sitting there if you didn't spend it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's just one thing. And if you're watching this and you're a Uber Eats or a DoorDash kind of person, I'm not trying to offend you, but I'm trying to open your eyes and really, you know, kind of help you develop that understanding of like, yeah, this money could be used for other things, and the food I'm getting could be better.
Yeah, kind of touch on that too. If you're struggling financially and you're a weed smoker, imagine how much money you spent on weed a week. Now times that by 52. Now imagine you took that number and you invested it.
Yeah.
And you did that every single year.
Yeah.
You would have so much more money.
Yeah. I want to also add to that, because I know somebody probably watching like, man, what am I supposed to do? That if you need to smoke, it's okay to say you're addicted. People don't think you be addicted to weed. Yes, you can. You can be addicted to almost everything. But what I'm saying is, I would think if you were gonna say I'm not smoking anymore to save my money to invest it, find a hobby. Find something that's gonna take that time. Because let's be honest, the time it takes you to go and get the flowers and roll them and burn them, that amount of time could have been a workout. That amount of time could have been listening to an audio book. Like, there's more fulfilling things that, you know, you could be doing so that you don't feel like you're missing out on doing that. So
chew gum.
Yeah.
Chew gum. Swap it.
Yeah.
Start chewing gum. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it keep you mentally clear.
Yeah, let me, because I feel like the people who smoke, it's okay. I'm not gonna be the person that says don't smoke. But what I'm gonna say is, the people who do smoke a lot, you probably don't have much clarity. It's foggy, right? It's hazy. You might feel good for that hot second, right? But like, it's hard to have clarity when you are always inebriated. So, just saying, you know, as we go into the new year, if that's something you consider highly, understand the benefits of, okay, I don't smoke anymore, but I got some mental clarity. I got more money in my pocket and in my account, you know, and I found something that is just as fulfilling and it takes about the same amount of time. So, you know, my biggest thing is we here for you, right? Well, we'll be the cheerleader, we'll be the pat on the back, because we're not gonna be the people who just say do this, don't do that, and then leave you out in the cold. No, like if you wanted some support or maybe somebody to talk to because you're on that journey, why not us? You know, so and that's just being real. That has nothing to do with anything financial, just being a good person. So like I wouldn't mind being somebody's person event too, you know, or you know, just advice.
Sure, I got a social work degree, so you know, you need a shoulder to lean on, somebody to talk to, man. That's what we're here for. That's what we put on this planet for, to help each other, support each other, and be there for each other. So
yeah. So listen, I think we're gonna wrap this episode up.
Yes, sir.
Be back next week. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, send it to somebody who needs it. Simple as that.
Link in bio.